Hey there, folks. It's Adam here for Instant Weather, Manitoba going live. We've got a pretty significant situation in our hands. It has already been unfolding, but we're just able to go live now. And there's still some pretty substantial storms that are in the area. So we're going to take a quick peek at them. Let's take a look at our forecast map. The main risk is in areas that are basically north and east of Winnipeg. As you can see, Winnipeg is kind of on the border of our isolated severe risk and severe risk, but so far, the storms that have been popping up kind of southwest of Winnipeg and south of Winnipeg have kind of been fizzling a bit, which is good. The main risk is going to be east of there as well, too. We did have reports of a tornado touching down earlier, somewhere close to Winnipeg Beach. And yeah, hopefully everybody's staying safe with that one. Let's take a look at radar here. Let's just jump right into it. And we're going to take a look at the couple of different storms that we're watching closely. There's another storm heading towards the Winnipeg Beach area right now. This particular one right here, it's probably just about heading over the water. It did have some minor signs of rotation on it right now, but it has weakened a bit, which is great. There's still some significant storms over here. Lac du Bonnet. Whoa. I mean, if you are in Lac du Bonnet right now, hopefully I'm saying that right. I always pronounce things wrong, as we all know. 132.84 kilometer an hour winds being shown here on radar. That is significant wind risk, and there is potentially some rotation in there as well too. So also Bird River up here looks ridiculously strong, 114. As you can see straight above my head here, 114.12 kilometers per hour. This big cluster of storms that is slowly making its way towards northwestern Ontario is absolutely dangerous line of storms right here that is northeast of Winnipeg. The main risk is over in the east. The storms that are moving to the west right now are not showing anything too substantial. There is a storm up here that is crossing from Saskatchewan over into Manitoba, but it looks like in general it's not anything too significant at this point in time. The main risk is going to be to the east. So these particular storms here, thankfully the ones that were south of Winnipeg, there was a couple storms here, but they have actually fizzled out. I think the capping's a little too strong for them. But over here to the east, again, probably some pretty substantial hail heading into Lac du Bonnet right now, and some ridiculously strong winds on radar. I mean, 132.84 kilometers an hour. I would not be surprised if we saw significant damage out of this line of storms. I believe right now, there's only a severe thunderstorm warning from Environment Canada on there, but I mean, it's got to be a pretty heavily worded warning at this point in time. Let me jump in the comments and see. Lac du Bonnet, sorry. Everybody's saying Lac du Bonnet. Yes, Lac du Bonnet, Lac du Bonnet, Lac du Bonnet. Tracy says, send the rain down to Winnipeg, please. You almost had a storm, and then it kind of fizzled. So you really don't want these particular storms. So Lac du Bonnet. Everybody's saying Lac du Bonnet. It sounds like it's a French name. If I say Bonnie, it sounds a little too English, I would think. I think it'd be like Bonnet. Lac du Bonnet. Trying my best. Let's see here. Michael from Manitoba Weather Center here has said severe thunderstorm watches have ended for areas of south central Manitoba. Yeah, so they're ending into the west, which makes sense. But the main risk here for sure is over to the east. And again, if you are in Lac du Bonnet, then you're going to want to. I really hope you're taking shelter in the path of that storm right now, because it looks extremely strong on radar. It's a fair distance from the radar, but it's not at the very, very far edge. And it has substantial winds. And then there is a tornado warning for northwestern Ontario right now, likely on this cell heading towards Red Lake, I would assume, because it's showing the strongest rotation there. But yeah, so if you are in northwestern Ontario, there is a tornado warning with that line of storms. But the tornado warning was dropped by Environment Canada for Manitoba, although, I mean, 130 kilometer an hour winds. Ren says you're pronouncing bonnet correctly as a French word. I can't win. If I pronounce it I try to make it sound French, people say it's Bonnie. If I try to make it sound English, then people say, no, it was Bonnet. Okay, fine. Ashley says, so nothing for Winnipeg again. Yeah, you might get missed. You want to get missed. I know you need the rain, but you want to get missed with these storms because the environment is extremely strong. I don't think in the past 3 years, I don't know if we've done the highest risk level on our forecast map in the past 2-3 years, maybe. I think the highest we've gone is significant risk, but I don't think we've gone to severe weather outbreak. So, I mean, if you are in the path of those right now, if you're in Lac du Bonnet, if you are in Lee River, Sunset Bay, Latonia, Pointe du Bois, Slay Falls, Barrier Bay, Pinawa, anywhere in the path of these particular storms. Bird River looks really strong right now. Burnick Lake. Yeah, if you're in any of those areas, I would be certainly taking shelter with those storms because they look extremely, extremely strong. George says, Lac du Bonnet, how 95% say it. I would say the Anglophones are probably saying Bonnie, and the Francophones are probably saying Bonnet. That's just my guess, I would say. Let's see here. Yeah, so tornado watch and flood risk still in effect for that area, says Nathan. Yeah, so tornado watches are still in effect, but again, the overall tornado risk might be somewhat mitigated as this is clustered into a line. But I mean, with all this noise right now, let me just jump back to the radar. With all this noise that we're looking at, I mean, there's embedded rotation in there, so it's not entirely out of the question. It cannot be entirely ruled out for there to be an embedded tornado risk within this line, because this line just looks ridiculously strong. If you are in Lac du Bonnet, please, please, Matt says, pronounce this. No, thanks. If you are in Lac du Bonnet, please, please let us know what you experienced. I hope you're okay. It looked insane on radar, so I really, really hope you're doing all right. Nobody wants to go through 130-kilometer-an-hour winds. I mean, if even, you know, a good percentage of that is reaching the surface, that's likely causing wind damage. So I would certainly be very, very careful with this line of storms as it exits to northwestern Ontario. But yeah, if you're in Lee River, again, if you're in Burnick Lake, any of these areas that are close to northwestern Ontario, you're going to be needing to take shelter with that storm. It is extremely strong. Tracy has a good question. She says, what is the path of this storm? It's actually moving about due east right now. So let me flip back to reflectivity radar, and let's hit play. Let me just make sure I have the latest frame, and I will hit play so you can see where these storms are going. Yeah, they're all moving about due east, if not almost. Yeah, it looks pretty much due east, but it almost looks like they're trying to go southeast, but they just keep extending to the east. So yeah, these particular ones are going due east. These storms here to the west, they're weakening. They're not substantial. This storm was the main one we were really keeping an eye on here. That was going through the Winnipeg Beach area again. Had the kind of classic little supercell look to it, but it may be weakening. Thankfully, these ones, I'm so thankful that these heavily populated areas didn't have to deal with these storms strengthening. Thankfully, they fizzled to the south of Winnipeg. If those had have strengthened, it would have been intense. Eric mentioned that the tornado that dropped near Toulon today totally popped. Yeah, yeah, that was definitely intense. We should probably bring up some reports of that. We had a report on our posted to our Facebook group. Side note, if you are joining us on Facebook, please join our reporting group, which is called Manitoba Storm Reports. So if you search Manitoba Storm Reports, and not join Manitoba Storm Watch, which is our Facebook page, but we have a Facebook group where anybody in the community can actually post, and that's called Manitoba Storm Reports. So if you want to punch in the actual link, it's facebook.com/groups/Manitoba Storm. But if you go to the search bar at the top right, or at the very top of Facebook, and you type Manitoba Storm Reports, make sure you're looking for groups, and please join that one because you can see some pretty impressive storms that are being posted there as well too. So Rachel says, so what you're saying is the storms are over for Manitoba. I mean, for populated Manitoba, it's looking good. It's looking promising. So yeah, it's looking quite promising. And I'm sure a lot of folks were wondering because there was a tornado watch just to the north of Winnipeg. We've had several tornado warnings. We've had severe thunderstorm warnings. So kind of coming on to clarify that the main risk is east of Winnipeg right now, because I know a lot of folks are wondering, because a major part of our community, of course, is in the populated areas. But yeah, we definitely got to keep an eye on these particular storms as they exit out to northwestern Ontario, which there is a tornado warning for northwestern Ontario right now as well too. But yeah, these are, let's see here. Jana, I hope I pronounced your name right, says, the storm going through Gimli, how bad is that? I'm just east of Lake Winnipeg. Let's go take a peek at it, actually, because I wanted to, it looked like it did weaken a bit, which is exciting. It was strengthening, though, for a bit, so that's one of the main reasons that we decided to go live, was that one was strengthening. Heading towards Grand Beach right now, Sunset Beach, Almdals Cove, Almdals, Almdals. I can't pronounce anything. Lester Beach, but it looks like it has weakened some, so that is good news. It still has that classic shape to it, but it's not too significant as far as structure is concerned. But I'm still quite concerned for those who are in the area that is being affected by this storm. Courtney says, super high winds, rain, and hail at a friend's house in Lac du Bonnet. Thank you very much, Lac du Bonnet, as some call it, Lac du Bonnet. And then it looks like the strongest part of the storm has actually moved east of there as well too. So they certainly got into the hail and into the very strong wind gusts. I wouldn't be surprised if we had some damage reports tomorrow as well too. Just based on velocity here, it looks just super duper strong. You can see the winds here. I mean, just east, 119 kilometers an hour on radar, which is intense. Someone's asking about Pinawa. This part of the storm, which is the tail of this main cluster of storms, this is kind of the southern tail, which could be a concern, is heading straight into Pinawa. So if this decides to hook, that could be a problem. Right now it is kind of straight, which is better, but if it starts to hook and show rotation, that could be a problem for Pinawa. So, and then Barrier Bay, maybe Brookfield as well. We'll have to see. Barrier Bay, again, Slave Falls, Pointe du Bois, the Lee River, Poplar Bay, Bird River, Burnick Lake, everywhere that's basically between Lac du Bonnet, and the northwestern Ontario border is pretty intense for sure. It's pretty intense. So let's see here. Mariana says, hail has come 3 times through the Lee River area. Heavy winds, heavy rains now. Was dark and solar lights turned on. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you, Nathan. I appreciate the comment there. Let's see here. 3 times. Yes. Just scrolling through your comments here. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We sincerely appreciate it. We did want to take a peek at that report we did have. Noah says, where is this? So we are in Manitoba at the moment, tracking these storms that are heading into northwestern Ontario. Again, there is a tornado warning for northwestern Ontario for any folks who are joining us from that side of the provincial border. It looks like rotation continues towards Red Lake. So if you're in the Red Lake area, that looks pretty intense right now as well. And yeah, we do have, we may have some more storms popping up. We'll have to see. They may end up fizzling out as well too. So that would be good news. So basically, if you're wondering if there's a severe risk, again, for Winnipeg, seems like it's in the clear at this point in time, as long as nothing else does pop up. The main risk is going to be east of Selkirk towards Lac du Bonnet or Lac du Bonnet, and heading out towards northwestern Ontario at this point in time. Sydney says, how is Snacks the cat? Snacks is good. He's my trusty buddy's right beside me, but he's sleeping right now, so I'm going to leave him alone, because if I wake him up, he's just going to jump all over me. Let's see here. Alexander says, what about Texas? I'm not sure. I'm just covering Manitoba at the moment. I haven't taken a look at Texas, but there could be some action happening down there, but I'm not sure at the moment. Just covering Manitoba up here in Canada. And let's see here. Tanya says, Selkirk looked scary for a bit, but it passed. Yeah, thankfully it was missed as well, too. These storms are intense, but they're tracking to the east and they'll eventually track into northwestern Ontario. Thankfully, the one that was over the water here, heading towards Graham Beach, seems to be really dying off, which is really good news. So that was kind of the main storm we decided to go live with because it was looking really intense. Not to mention this dangerous cluster of storms that continues to track out towards northwestern Ontario. So that is the main issue right now. Pinawa is probably going to see some pretty strong winds as that moves in. If you are in that area, please let us know what you're experiencing. Blair says, keep up the great work. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Sydney says, where are you reporting from? I live in Barrie, Ontario, but we live stream. And yesterday we were live in Alberta. We often go live in Saskatchewan, in Manitoba, in Ontario, and all over the place. New Brunswick as well too. Basically, I just go live across the country and pronounce names wrong. That's what I do. But try to give some clarity to these dangerous storms, and hopefully have folks take shelter in the path of them because it's pretty intense. Let's see here. Sam says, is there specific spots in a storm cell that has a higher chance of developing tornadoes? You mentioned the tail end could hook and create rotation. Any other spots? Yeah, typically it's the southwest tail. Oh, sorry, my camera's inverted. So typically it's the southwest tail of the storm. But in some cases, there's a bookend vortex where the north side of the storm can actually kind of curl back and produce a tornado on the north side of the storm, which is a little bit different. So, and then you have, squall lines where you have embedded QLCS tornadoes that are they show up in rotation, but they show up right on the edge of the front of the storm. And then you can also have land spouts, which don't even show up on radar. You see the storm there, but there's no associated mesocyclone with it, so there's no associated rotation. So those are really, really tricky. The only way those get typically warned from Environment Canada is if somebody reports one, because they can't just look at radar and say, oh, that's a tornado. It doesn't really show up that way. So, yeah. So let's see here. Nathan mentioned the tornado warning in northwestern Ontario. Yeah, it looks pretty intense right now for sure for northwestern Ontario. Jeff says, question about radar. Earlier when warnings and watches were popping up, the radar didn't match the reports. How come this happens? Yeah, so it might be because if you're talking about potentially that the alert region is too, basically there's like county-based alerts still. In the US, they switched to storm-based warnings many, 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 many years ago. And I actually had a meeting with a couple of members from Environment Canada quite recently, and they're actually working on storm-based alerts. So that's going to make it a lot better. However, I think maybe what you're mentioning is that the tornado warning was for areas slightly to the east, and the report was slightly to the west. And I think maybe they did that as the storm was tracking into those areas. I'm not 100% sure. It comes down to Environment Canada and what their decision-making process is. So I can't comment on that. But yeah, thankfully they're switching to storm-based warning, so that's going to be quite exciting. Uggy Buggy says, are there any CC drops on this tornado warned storm in northwestern Ontario? Let's go take a peek at it from the Dryden radar. Probably not. It's very far from the radar station as well too. So the chances of correlation coefficient, like significant drops being way up there, is questionable. Oh, you know what? There was a little bit of a drop though. Is that tied right to the rotation? Interesting. Yeah, these might actually be drops. To see CC drops that far, it might be associated with hail, but it's possible. It's possible that was actually a damage signature there, taking out trees. So it could have been certainly some tornadoes in northwestern Ontario with those storms. Still could be. There's tornado warning in place at this point in time. So, but the CC drops have died off there. So that's interesting. We'll see. We'll see what happens up there. Hopefully everybody's staying safe. Thankfully, where those CC drops are, I don't think there's a lot of population, but there can certainly be folks that get trapped in those areas at the wrong place at the wrong time. Let's see here. Noah says, I'm in Pinawa. The winds here are very strong, but no tornadoes, but I just got a severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, it makes sense that you got a severe thunderstorm warning because those storms are still going quite strong. If you're in Pinawa, you can see the kind of boundary extending out the bottom side of the storm. But Pinawa is just about to get that storm, and it's going to be intense. It's probably going to get stronger too as it heads towards you. So yeah, brace for that one. It's going to be pretty intense for sure. Let's see here. Brent's asking why Environment Canada doesn't show cell tracking on radar like what's shown in the States. Yeah, so that's storm-based warnings. So right now they're still in county-based warnings, and in the near future, probably in the next year or two, they're gonna launch storm-based warnings finally, which is very exciting. I'm super excited about that. So, yes. Nathan says lots of lightning near Lac du Bonnet or Lac du Bonnet, according to the radar. And just to clarify, Nathan, radar doesn't actually detect lightning. The lightning strikes come from lightning detectors that are set up. So that data is separate, but in certain apps they get combined together. And this is actually called Instant Weather Pro, which we've been working on for quite a while, building it for the Northern Tornadoes project out of Western University, and we're going to be launching it as a pro radar suite as part of our app. Side note: if you have not downloaded our app yet, please do so. You can get it for free at instantweatherapp.com. Head over to our website there and download the app for free for Android or Apple, and then punch in your location, and then you'll get alerts instantly from that as well too. So it's quite useful that way. Let me see here. There was a question here. One second. Chaz says, "Do you chase tornadoes?" I have in the past. We started Instant Weather 9 years ago. From when I was storm chasing, and then an EF1 tornado threw a 7,500 square foot roof at my vehicle. We just got out of the way. 2x10s were spiked 4 feet into the ground behind us. We just got out of the way. So we said, maybe we should start some Facebook pages and try to raise awareness about tornadoes and severe weather. And that's why we've been doing this so far. Yeah, and that's so mainly now I'm an armchair chaser. I have a 5-year-old, so I'm trying to, I have to be home, but also try my best to armchair chase, that we like to call it. But yeah, we're coming out with some cool stuff in the future that we've been working on with a company in Australia. We're not going to get too deep into it right now, but we are working on something very exciting, which will make armchair chasing a little bit more realistic and enjoyable. But anyways, let's see here. Alexander says, "Are you scared about this tornado?" Currently, I don't know if there is a tornado on the ground or not. There was a tornado earlier. I think it's not about being scared, it's about being prepared. So, I mean, that kind of sounded hokey because it rhymed. But, I mean, it's easy to remember. It's like, if you're prepared, it's much less scary. If you don't even know storms are coming, you get caught off guard and something affects your area, that's a lot more intimidating than you being prepared. There's a risk. You have multiple ways of getting alerted, and you're watching the radar and seeing when the storms are coming. So well in advance. You don't have to panic. You can take your time, getting the family to the basement, make sure you're down there as the storm passes. That's certainly the best way to go. For sure. Let's see here. Seeing blue skies in Lac du Bonnet now. Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah, it's starting to clear up here. We should be getting a new radar update pretty soon. Let me just double check on it. And yeah, it looks like you're probably starting to see them to the west, I would assume. And so that's good news. But Pinawa is about to get hit by that storm if they haven't yet already. Jen says, "Great job, guys. Appreciate all the time and risk you're taking to make sure all are safe." You're very welcome, Jen. Thank you so much. Grateful that we're able to help. Forecast for tomorrow for Ontario. Working on it. We're working on it. It looks pretty intense, so I should probably go work on that pretty shortly, actually. Let's see here. Noah says, "In case there's a tornado, I'm camping in my basement." Yeah, that's always a good idea for sure. D says, "Yep, because of this app, I don't really worry anymore. Knowledge is power." Thanks so much, D. Yeah, I mean, what do they say is, if you worry, you suffer twice. So if you worry and something, terrible happens, you suffer twice. So there's no point in worrying. Let's just be prepared. Watch it closely. Yeah, severe weather sucks. I mean, tornadoes literally like a vacuum. They suck. But yeah, you definitely want to be prepared for these storms, but don't stress about them. Just know where the risk areas are, know what the risk levels are, and you have to just prepare accordingly, and you should be good. Let's see here. Yeah, so the storms are slowly making their way out. Thankfully, the storms to the north have died. I was really hoping that they did die, and they did. They fizzled out, which is great. And the storms to the south, they may increase in strength as they move to the east. In fact, This is something interesting. Just northeast of Steinbach here. This storm looked like it was dying. Where does it think it's going? It's like, you know, it was kind of yellow. So it looked a little stronger right here. And then it started to fizzle out. And then it went to green. And we thought, oh, it must be done. And then it went, hold on a second. And it's kind of worth watching, I think, for a little bit to see if this gets cooking. The environment is just so insanely strong right now. It's one of the strongest environments we've seen on models in a long time and on observations right now. I don't know how to pronounce this. Atikaki Provincial Park. That's got a pretty nasty storm moving through right now as well too. That's heading towards, it's pretty close to the Ontario border, I believe. Yeah, it's right up against the Ontario border, a little bit further to the north of Whiteshell Provincial Park. And yeah, it certainly looks interesting. Noah Pearson said just got a tornado watch. Yeah, so maybe they've extended the tornado watch to the east, or potentially it was already there. Hey from Kenora, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. Side note, we have a sister page, if you are on Facebook, called Instant Weather Northern Ontario. So if you are in Northern Ontario, please, definitely please join our page there. Brent says, last question, why is the radar only updated after 10 minutes? A 5 or 2 minute interval would be great. Yeah, so it used to be 10 minutes, and there's still a few stations. The Thunder Bay station is 10 minutes, and there's 2 or 3 other stations that have 10-minute intervals. But all of the new S-band radars that Canada has installed, like this particular one right now in Woodlands, it is 6-minute updates. So Canada has now upgraded to 6-minute updates, which is very exciting. Let's see here. Miranda, our team member, on behalf of Adam and the Instant Weather team, I want to thank all who are sending in stars. Remember to download the Instant Weather app if you haven't already. Yeah, you know what? I'll put that in the comments as well too. Download our free app and I'll put the link there for it. Thank you very much for reminding me, Miranda. And again, thanks for all those who are sending in stars. Sincerely appreciate that. Sincerely appreciate all those who have used our app and gone to the menu, clicked upgrade radar, and extended the feature radar to 5 hours, as well as removing ads. So a huge thank you to you. If it wasn't for the subscriptions, the app would not be able to be free for everybody else. So the numbers just don't work out with the ad revenue of the free users. So that we've kind of, checked out the charts on that, and it really does end up, it's really significantly helpful that folks are subscribing to the app, because that is the reason that it is able to exist for everybody else for free. So thank you so much to those who have subscribed. Brandy says, great page. Thank you for the updates. You're very welcome, Brandy. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Christy says, when a tornado is on the ground, 6 minutes is not quick enough for those in its path. Yeah, so Christy, typically on radar, you see rotation before the tornado actually touches down. So it's not kind of like there's nothing, and then on the next radar update, there's a giant, strong mesocyclone and the tornado's on the ground. It has happened that way, but it's pretty rare. Usually, it starts to rotate. So that's when we send out like minor rotation updates through our app, and then it gets a little bit stronger, and then we say rotation detected, and then it gets really strong, and then, it's really, really focused, and then we start to see tornado reports at that point in time. So typically, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 frames of 6-minute radar intervals before a tornado touches down. Usually 1 or 2, but yeah, it can. You have some time. Christy says, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you do have some time for sure. But yeah, there are rare times where it's like 1 radar update, boom, and the thing drops. So it happens. But 6-minute updates are much better than 10-minute updates. So it's hard to complain. From my personal perspective, I try not to complain anymore because I'm happy about it. I remember when we only had 10-minute updates for the last 9 years that we've been an organization. And so I'm super happy about 6 minutes. I like 6 minutes. Yeah. Crystal says, hi, Adam. Thanks for the updates. You're very, very welcome, Crystal. Thank you kindly for joining us. Janine says, here in Pinawa, it's raining really hard, but no wind yet. Okay. Interesting. No wind. That's shocking, actually. Sherry says, Atikaki Provincial Park. Thank you very much for clarifying that. I appreciate it. And yeah, let's go take a look at that report from earlier. There was a pretty intense report of a tornado earlier on. Kind of skinny, but interesting tornado that was reported earlier. I believe it has lifted since, which is good news, of course. But let me see if I can pull that up here on our group. Manitoba Storm Reports is our group, so please do join it on Facebook if you do have Facebook. The little storm north of Steinbach might be getting a little bit stronger. Interesting. Interesting. So we're going to have to watch that closely. Let's keep an eye on that one. And I will pull up this report from our Manitoba Storm Reports Facebook group as well, too. So give me just a moment. I will do that in the background, and then we'll put that up onto... In fact, let's go take a little browse of our Storm Reports group here. This was from John L., who says, from Riverdale Tourist Campground along the Leave River area. That is a dark sky. Whoa. Whoa. Looks like marble-sized hail in Beconia, I think is how you pronounce it. Beaconia. Beconia or Baconia. And this was the tornado report from earlier from Jamie Yanishwisky. And probably pronounced that wrong. So I pronounce everything wrong. But yeah, that was, you can definitely see that it's on the ground right here. So typically, normally we would say this is just a funnel cloud, but the fact that you can actually see the debris signature, not signature, but the debris, you can literally see it kicking up debris on the surface right here. So that's how we know that this funnel cloud is connected to the surface. So if it's not connected, it's just a funnel cloud, but if it is connected, then it's considered a tornado. So we can pretty definitively say that this is a tornado and will likely be confirmed by the Northern Tornadoes Project out of Western University and Environment Canada, which they work together to confirm tornadoes across Canada. So yeah, so that was earlier, and that was near Lake Winnipeg, I believe. Winnipeg Beach area, I believe, yes. So, or it might have been Toulon, I think, Tulon area. Actually, we can just look exactly where this is. Road 88 North, 4 miles west of Highway 8 is where it was reported from. So thank you to all those who are sending in reports. We sincerely appreciate it. Let's jump back to the radar and see if we can get a new frame. Just want to keep an eye on what's happening northeast of Steinbach and the Pinawa area. I'd be surprised if you said there's no wind at this point. I mean, radar has 108-kilometer-an-hour winds to the west of you, so if there's no wind yet, it's probably going to get windy. Let's see if we can... Janine says that in Pinawa, the rain has died down. The rain has died down. I guess we need faster radar updates, because it's got you in 53.3 or 53.5 dBz. Paula says, Beconia, you did a good job. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I never do a good job when it comes to pronouncing anything, but hey, I try my best. Let's see here. Nathan says, potential up to 110-kilometer-an-hour winds. Hope everyone stays safe. Thank you so much, Nathan. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for all your help. Side note, Nathan, send us an email because you seem pretty passionate. So send us an email to help@instantweather.ca. and let us know more about your passion for weather, because you seem quite passionate, which is great. So some of our best team members we've found through our live stream and through the community, of course. I mean, we have such a wonderful community that, it doesn't seem too shocking that some of our, pretty much the majority of our amazing team members have come from our community, which is great. Noah says, in Pinawa, I just saw a lightning bolt next to my house. Ouch. Brent says 2 minutes. Yeah, I'd love 2-minute radar updates. So if you can go ahead and convince Environment Canada to do 2-minute radar updates, that'd be fantastic. It'd be nice if they did a strategy where, because the lowest scan, the scan that's closest to the surface is the most important. That's it's still up above the surface, but it's as close to the surface as we possibly can see. So what some radar stations do is they'll scan the lowest, and then they'll scan 1 tilt up, 2 tilt up, 3 tilt up, then they'll come back and scan the lowest again, and then they'll go 4, 5, 6, scan the lowest again, 7, 8, 9, scan the lowest again. So they'll do the strategy where they keep coming back down and scanning the lowest so that you can get at least the lowest tilt every 2 or 3 minutes kind of thing. So that would be amazing if they did that, but we'll see here. So yeah, it looks still tornado warning for northwestern Ontario, I believe. Yeah, it's continued. Let me just double check on that just to make sure, but I believe it has continued. Nathan's posting about it a lot. And I think, yeah, still tornado warning for the Red Lake areas there. So we can take a peek into northwestern Ontario really quick here and see what's happening. Let me just take a little bit of a peek. And yeah, still some rotation. The Red Lake rotation is a little more broad. There's some rotation to the north of Red Lake. And there is some rotation down here that's developing as well too. And in addition to that, I mean, these are significant winds here, 105, 113 kilometers an hour. This cluster right here, behind this rotation that we're seeing, is producing likely some very, very strong damaging wind gusts. And this cluster down here, if we swipe over, yeah, right here near Caribou Falls and Werner Lake, 105 kilometers an hour, 114 kilometers an hour, 125 kilometers an hour. That's intense. So I hope everybody's staying safe in northwestern Ontario as well too. With those storms, they look quite dangerous. And yeah, we should be getting hopefully a new update pretty soon, and we'll see if the storm that is northeast of Steinbach is actually going to increase in strength, or is it going to weaken? Let's see here. Valerie says that makes the most sense. Not sure why any place wouldn't want to have the most accurate radar. Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. Accurate radar is nice, but again, it's difficult to complain because we have such a much better radar system now. I know it's noisy and it's got, you know, radio frequency noise and all this kind of stuff, but it's got a much bigger range, so we're able to see storms that are much further out than the old radars, which is fantastic. So areas that have never had velocity data before, never had wind data for us to see if there's even rotation there, now they finally do. So so it's a significant increase in our radar data for sure. And again, 6 minutes instead of 10. So things are getting better. Slowly but surely, things are getting better. So Kara says, what about the Kenora area? We have a tornado watch currently and severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, let me take a look at Kenora. I think right now you're okay. Yeah, you're completely in the clear, and that storm might actually miss you to the north. So Kenora might get completely missed. You might get some rain, but yeah, you might get completely missed. So that would be good news. So hopefully that helps. And side note, Kara, please join our sister page called Instant Weather Northern Ontario. And as well, of course, download our free app, and then you can punch in your location and see exactly what alerts are for your area. And that's at instantweatherapp.com. So, yeah, so I think these storms are going to move to the east, and then we should be okay. Some models did have some interesting storms heading in from Saskatchewan this evening, maybe towards the Brandon area. But the overall environment there is not as strong as it is to the east. So it's possible that it won't be severe in the west. Is there any wind in Pinawa right now? Because it looks pretty windy on radar. Maybe these storms are becoming elevated further off the surface. Yeah, we'll see. Michael says, why didn't storms materialize in the Winnipeg area earlier? Why did they fizzle out? That's a good question. Probably the capping, but I would say it's a good thing. We definitely. I know you needed rain, but we definitely did not need significant tornado risk in the Winnipeg area. So nobody needs that. There's too much population there. That would be horrifying. So yeah, but of course you want the rain. So someone was asking about where was it again here? So I think, let me just zoom in a bit. Was it Pointe du Bois? Let me see here. Someone just asked about. Amy says, how's Red Lake doing? It could be interesting. Paula said, how's Pointe du Bois doing? There is some pretty strong winds to your west, but let us know what you're experiencing right now, because yeah, because these storms could be coming elevated, which is good. When they come elevated, it means they get further and further off of the surface, which means they're going to be interacting with the surface less. So that would be good. That would be super good. Brent says Storm Shield Winnipeg. Yeah, some people call it the Storm Shield. It's possible. It's not a real thing, but yeah, you have enough storms fizzle right before they hit Winnipeg, and you start to believe in it. So I can appreciate why folks do. So yeah, so these are the storms right now. They're going to move out to the east. They're going to head into northwestern Ontario. And then I think overall the risk should actually be somewhat mitigated There is still potential for a storm like this that is northeast of Steinbach to become severe as it tracks east. It might head towards Kenora for the lady who was asking about Kenora as well too. Yeah, so that could be interesting for sure. It looks like there is some storms. Yeah, there is some storms over here. Let's see here. Yeah, there's some storms over here in Saskatchewan. I believe that is in Saskatchewan. No, that's actually still in Manitoba. Oh, I see. It's to the west they're talking about. Yeah, there is some interesting storms to the west. So far, none of it looks too intense. Yeah, this storm near Ipswich and Strathclair. Hopefully it's elevated, but it does have some pretty strong winds in there. There is 86. Yeah, there is some pretty strong winds in that particular area. There's this big outflow boundary heading to the southeast here as well. Let's head back and watch it move. And so it could be bringing some big winds and some heavy rain to the Brandon area. But overall, I think the tornado risk should be mitigated to the west. Christy says, it's totally a real thing, Adam, LOL. Yeah, totally. You know what, though? There is actually microclimates in large populated areas. So that could be part of it. That could certainly be part of it. So let's see here. Yeah, seen some potential debris signatures, though, in northwestern Ontario. Folks have been posting about as well. So hopefully it's in completely rural areas that have basically no population. That would be optimal, but it's not entirely out of the question that, oh, these cells actually north of Red Lake. And actually there is some rotation towards Red Lake, but the stronger rotation is certainly up here and up here. And actually let's head over to correlation coefficient and see if we can see any debris coming from these ones. Oh yeah, there's quite a signature up here. That could be debris lofted very high up in the air. That could be a pretty intense tornado actually right there. Hopefully this is near Nungesser Lake. Hopefully there's no population up here. I don't think there's any roads. So hopefully this is, I mean, Trout Lake area, there could be some population, but yeah, hopefully up here there is no population because, but that could certainly be a pair of tornadoes right now in northwestern Ontario. So it seems that the storms actually arrived a bit early in Manitoba and tracked quickly into northwestern Ontario. So it's possible that the main tornado risk that the models were screaming about has, it seems like it's moved over into northwestern Ontario. So I hope folks up there are staying safe. Hopefully nobody lives into the direct path of those particular storms. But they look pretty intense right now, so hope everybody's staying okay. Hope everybody's staying safe with them for sure. So let's just take a look at that little storm. What's it doing? Not much northeast of Steinbach, so yeah. So Christy says, yep, that's what I meant by being a real thing. Yeah, I mean, the microclimate can affect storms for sure. It's but there's not an actual storm shield. You know, because of course, many storms have gone through Winnipeg, so there isn't an actual shield. But yes, it can change the dynamics of the environment. Let's see here. Just looking through the comments. Christy says, trying to remember the last time Winnipeg was hit by a tornado. Winnipeg's been hit by several small tornadoes. I don't know if it's been hit by a significant one, but I do remember, I think back in 2014, a tornado touching down in Winnipeg, or at least a big funnel cloud and tornado warnings. I'm not sure if that was confirmed touching down, but yeah, it's been a while. But and let's hope it stays that way. We don't want anything touching down in big populations. That would be terrifying. So, anyways, yeah, these storms are going to move out to northwestern Ontario. I'm going to keep watching radar throughout the evening to see what happens, to see if the storm northeast of Steinbach that is heading out towards the Kenora area actually gets going. But I think probably going to shut down the stream. Yeah, I think so. So I'm glad I was able to come and deliver good news to most folks that were not wanting dangerous severe weather. So that is exciting here. Let's see here. Valerie says, when is this radar going to come to the app? Super excited and impatient for it. LOL. It's coming, Valerie. It is. We're working on it. So if anybody wants to join the alpha test, send us an email and we'll try to squeeze a few more people on. But shoot us an email to help@instantweather.ca, and we'll see if we can squeeze a few more folks onto the alpha test for those who have stuck around. Yeah, there are probably 2 or 3 spots we might be able to help you out with, but we'll see. Anyways, but yeah, shoot us an email. We'll see what we can do. And the beta test is going to be coming very soon as well too, so we're super excited about that. Let's see here. Amazing person 3409, how are you? Says possibly debris ball from correlation coefficient in northern Ontario. Yeah, it looks intense up there. There's probably a couple of tornadoes on the ground right now in unpopulated areas in northwestern Ontario. So again, I hope everybody's staying safe with that. And you know, thankfully for populated parts of Manitoba, it looks like the main tornado risk, beside the tornado that touched down earlier that we just showed a video of, it looks like the main tornado risk has moved into northwestern Ontario, into what looks like fairly unpopulated areas. So hopefully nobody's being affected by that. Yeah, hopefully everybody's being safe with that one. So ask for a song. Okay, well, let's see here. Songs. I know songs. I'll play you one song before I go, and then let me see. Let me just make sure my mic settings are good. One song for you folks before I head out of here. Let me see here. Let's make sure that I'm in tune. I think it sounded like it's in tune. Let me see. Remind me to adjust my settings because it probably has a... I probably have a noise canceling on, so I'll play you one tune before I go. All right. Let's see here. What can I play? Any requests? If you have any requests. I gotta play one tune and then go make a forecast for Ontario because tomorrow looks intense as well. I don't know what I was playing. I was just making it up. Let's see here. The hip. That'd be cool. Could play some hip. Where's my guitar pick? Have I lost them all? I think I've lost every guitar pick. They like to just be eaten up by this room. Where do they go? Guitar pick, come back. All right, I'll play some hip. We got 2 hip requests. Let's do it. Burden blues on the street, loose and complete under skies of smoking blue-green. I can't forsake a Dixie dead shake, so we dance the sidewalk clean. My memory is muddy, what's this river that I'm in? New Orleans is sinking, man, and I don't wanna swim. Time, what's wrong? What is going on? You can't tie yourself before a deal. He said, ain't no if you're south, shut your dirty little mouth. You gotta do what you feel is real. Ain't got no picture postcards, ain't got no souvenirs. My baby, she don't know me when I'm thinking about those years. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Pale as a light bulb hanging from a wire, sucking up to someone just to stoke the fire, picking out the highlights of the scenery. Saw a little cloud, it looked a little like an EF3. scream. Said, Adam, baby, I know exactly what you mean. He said, I swear to God, she said, whoa, yeah. All right, sing it with me, come on. Whoa, yeah, 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 yeah. My memory is muddy. What's this river that I'm in? New Orleans is sinking, man, and I don't wanna swim. Swim. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you kindly for joining on the live stream. Thank you for the requests of some hip. Rest in peace, Gordy, of course. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate it. Hopefully everybody's staying safe. Northwestern Ontario is getting the brunt of the tornado risk at this point in time and moving into areas around, was it Red Lake, I believe. And let's just go take one more peek at that. Let me just make sure the storm, starting to pick up some steam east of St. Anne, but nothing too significant at all at this point in time. But yeah, these storms that are in northwestern Ontario right now are looking pretty intense. Likely potential for a couple of tornadoes up in that area for sure. Whoa, it's got kind of a bookend vortex going on right here. Interesting. So yeah, if you're up in that area, if you're in Snake Falls in northwestern Ontario, kind of in the Red Lake area as well, if you're north of there, I know there's not a boatload of population up there, but there's certainly some folks who live up there, and that storm is quite nasty. So I hope everybody's staying safe. Look at Speed says tornado warning in Ontario. Yeah, northwestern Ontario has been tornado warnings for a while now, but anyways, I hope everybody's staying safe. I'm glad I was able to come deliver some good news for Manitoba, that these storms, they're pretty intense, and we did have a tornado touchdown earlier, and we had a video from that, but it looks like they came a little bit early, which is good news for Manitoba, because the majority of the tornado risk actually ended up moving to the northeast. So if that storm was a little bit slower, then we would have that same strong rotation happening in eastern Manitoba. So anyways, so that's somewhat good news, but hopefully everybody's okay, because there was some pretty intense winds there. So hope everybody's doing all right, and have yourself a safe evening, and we will talk to you very, very soon. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.